Hi everybody and welcome to another edition of Atalo Insider. As usual, today we're going to go through a lot of the changes on the Office 365 platform. As usual, we'll have a look at the message center and we'll see what incidents have been occurring over the last 2 weeks, and we'll also have a look at the roadmap to see what's changed and what's coming through. Now it's going to be interesting over the next couple of weeks to see, or a couple of months to see how this is going to change. Obviously with everything going on in the world at the moment with the coronavirus, it'll be interesting to see how Microsoft efforts for rolling features out and features going into development changes over time. So let's see if there's a bit of a slowing of pace over the next couple of months or if they carry on as they are. So it'll be very interesting to see where we're at now. I'm not expecting a lot different to normal at the moment, but maybe in the next editions we'll see that. So what we're going to do, we're going to jump straight in and have a look at what's been going on. Hopefully you know the format by now. So if we just jump into the message center, as usual, these are the incidents that have occurred on my own tenant, so yours may differ, but it gives us a good background on what's changing on the actual environment. Okay, so what we'll do, we've got 8 current incidents in the platform at the moment. So let's have a look at what these are. Okay, so first of all, the online Outlook client may be unable to access Exchange. That's obviously the Outlook desktop client, so service degradation there. So you may or may not see some issues, and that's been going on since the 3rd of March. So you may have had some intermittent issues that your users have been reporting. Another one, so in Microsoft Teams, users may be intermittently unable to open specific files in Microsoft Teams, and that's been going on since the 9th of March. We may see a few Teams related issues here, I think, as we go on. And this has been going on for a little while. This is coming in and out. So delayed usage reports. So admins may notice delays in usage reports on the Office 365 administration portal. Can't see quality control data. So in Skype for Business, admins may see a delay in data for their call quality dashboard and call analytics data. That's been going on since the 16th. Can't see quality control data. Okay, so that's the same, but that's for Microsoft Teams, so obviously related on the back end. And reports are delayed, so admins may notice that user activity reports are not up to date, and that's been going on since the 17th. Delayed activation reports, so admins may notice delays in the Office 365 activation reports starting from March 17th as well. And poor audio and video quality. So in Skype for Business, users may experience poor audio and video quality when using this tool, and that's currently ongoing as well. We've also had 22 incidents closed in that time, so have a quick look at these. Some of these we may have seen last time. So SharePoint Online, admins may have been unable to update sharing settings for group sites via SharePoint Online. Unable to access the admin portal. So what's this, the 2nd of March for about 2 hours, users may have been unable to access the 365 admin portal. Can't post to Yammer from browsers. That went on for just over a day, so users may have been unable to post messages to Yammer from web browsers. OneDrive for Business, some issues where users can't access content. SharePoint Online, so users may have been unable to access SharePoint Online sites. So they're probably related. And some users may have been unable to sign into the admin portal or one or more Microsoft 365 services, one of those generic. Okay, well that lasted for 2 minutes apparently, so I'm sure that didn't affect people too much. There's also a problem with the advanced e-discovery relevance in the Security and Compliance Center. So admins may have received an authentication error when attempting to access advanced e-discovery relevance in the SCC. That was a false positive, so that's one that was actually reported and recorded, but actually turned out not to be an issue. Unknown user in Teams, so users may see an unknown user appear within Teams in the Microsoft Teams service. Okay, that's an interesting. I've not read anything about that one in the past. I wonder if that's a Microsoft test user that got injected in for fixing something or something else that was going on. Interesting that. Microsoft Teams, dial pad issue in Teams. This went on for a few days from the 4th of March to the 11th, and users may have been unable to access the dial pad or perform specific actions using the dial pad in Microsoft Teams. Now, we've definitely seen a few issues with Teams. I'm sure we're all aware and may have seen an incident in here where Teams became unavailable the day that everyone started working from home, but I'm sure we'll see something around that. So I think Teams has been getting a bit of a panic support over the last couple of weeks. So delay in content indexing for SharePoint Online. So you may have noticed that added or edited content may have been unavailable or inaccurate in SharePoint Online. That one was at the 11th, so yeah, about 12 hours there that lasted for. Yammer Enterprise, autocomplete and app mention not working. So users were unable to use the autocomplete and app mention function in certain scenarios. That was most of the day on the 12th. Can't search in Outlook on the web Lite. So for Exchange Online, users were receiving an error message when attempting to search within Outlook on the web Lite. Problem with commerce purchases. So users may have experienced intermittent errors when attempting to make payments or purchasing. That lasted for 45 minutes. I'm pretty sure Microsoft would have fixed that one pretty quick. Can't add guest users, so users may have been unable to add guest users to Teams, and that lasted for just over a day, from the 13th to the 14th of March. There is a post-incident report published on that if you're interested. Can't log into some services, one of those generic issues that I don't really like. That lasted for about an hour and 20 minutes. Some limited Teams functionality. So the 16th of March, that's maybe what I was referring to, users may have experienced limited functionality within the Microsoft Teams service. I think the issue was slightly larger than that, but it's a bit of a play down on the description there, I think. Stale admin usage reports information. So admin users may have received reports with stale information. That's for 3 days. We do see a lot of issues around the reports, so it does kind of concern me about how much reliance admins do put on these reports. So if you are monitoring these reports and using them as part of your KPIs, I'll be very interested to hear about whether you have confidence that the information you get is valid or not, because we always seem to have issues around this. Okay, can't sign into Outlook on the web, so I think we've kind of covered that in a previous issue already. Stale search results, so OneDrive for Business, was just seen as for SharePoint, but obviously users may have seen stale results in OneDrive for Business as well, and that was the 15th to the 18th of March. Same for SharePoint Online. Teams messaging functionality issues, so some users may have been unable to send and receive messages or schedule meetings and live events, and that was the 16th to the 18th of March. Chinese, Japanese and Korean characters replaced with a question mark, so in Exchange Online, so users may have noticed that some Chinese, Japanese and Korean characters were replaced with a question mark in the emails that they receive. Okay. So that's all the issues we've seen. I think we largely glossed over the Teams issue, so I won't go into more depth on that. So let's go and have a look at the roadmap and let's see what's been going on the platform. Nothing has been cancelled. So we've got 12 items that have entered the launch category. Now, as I always explain, just remember these are the new items in these categories. This isn't everything that's in the launch category, it's just the new items we haven't discussed before. So for a complete picture, you need to watch this session every other week, and then you kind of see the changes to the roadmap essentially. So we can see we've got 12 items that have entered the launch category, 11 that have entered the rolling out category, which means they're just starting to be deployed throughout the environments, and 30 that have entered in development. So again, there's far more than 30 items in development, but these are the new things that Microsoft has started working on. So if we start with the launched, so launched means those items that have completed rollout and should now be available in all tenants worldwide. Okay, so what we've got here. Data Visualizer add-in for Excel is now available for public preview. Not something I've had experience with, but if you are using that, I'd be very interested to see your experience with that. Microsoft Teams reverse number lookup. So we've covered this previously, I think in the rolling out and possibly even the development stages. So that has now completed its launch. OneDrive Mobile updated recent view, so improved recent files experience in OneDrive for mobile app that you can see in all Office endpoints, including scans and PDFs. It will also help you navigate between PDFs in an easier manner. Cross-volume support when you enable backup of your important folders. So again, OneDrive for Business. So OneDrive known folder moves support for migrations where the known folders are on a different volume than the OneDrive folder. So this known folder element here, this is things like your documents, your videos, your downloads, those special folders you have on your computer. If you're not aware of this functionality, I highly recommend you look into it. It basically means you can map those folders to OneDrive or OneDrive for Business, which gives you good native cloud backup. So I definitely recommend you do that. We use it here and it's really, really useful. Okay, so also launched, introducing the quarantine administrator role. We've seen this before. So there's a new admin role in Office 365 called the quarantine administrator, and this allows users to create role groups in the Security and Compliance Center, and that will provide access to all components of quarantine. They've also enabled the new role that grants access to quarantine only. SharePoint organizational news, audience targeting. So now you can better define what news articles and pages appear on the home experience of your site by configuring what is visible to specific groups. Each person will have a unique experience that compiles with what you wish them to view without creating multiple audience-specific sites, and you can serve them all from within a more centralized location with a personalized targeted experience. Audience targeting support will be enabled in news, pages and other web parts, so you can define and target who best to reach with the content and site experiences. Kazala, consent for custom actions. So users will be presented with a consent dialog asking for their permission to continue using the custom action, and the consent dialog would be shown for all custom actions. And after the user has given consent for a custom action, the permission is not asked again for that action. Automated incident response for compromised user accounts. So Microsoft are adding a new playbook for automated investigation and remediation of compromised user accounts. With the new playbook for detecting compromised users, security teams can automatically identify, mitigate and contain threats due to these user accounts, reducing potential damages significantly. I highly recommend looking into that. Collaboration just got easier. Okay, marketing's been involved in this one. Real-time co-authoring now available in Visio for the web. I think we're all familiar with what Visio is, all familiar with what co-authoring is. So that's something that I'm sure will be very useful. I actually use co-authoring a heck of a lot now in Office Online, and I really, really like it. So good that that's going to Visio as well. SharePoint, column totals, so users will be able to display column totals and subtotals in the footer of a group or a list library view in the modern SharePoint experience without needing to change to classic mode. That will be welcome. SharePoint list bulk approvals, so in both the modern and classic UX you can select multiple items and approve or reject them at the same time. Modern list templates for issues, contacts and datasheet. This is going to be very welcome. So the following list templates now have modern UI support: issue tracking, contacts, custom list in datasheet view. New and existing lists created in one of these templates will now appear in modern UI by default. Additionally, the native UI now supports multi-line text fields with the append changes to existing text setting enabled. Good, it's nice to see some of this support finally filtering through to the modern experience. Now we just need term store and document sets. Okay, so that's all the new stuff that has completed its rollout over the last 2 weeks. So let's look at what Microsoft has started rolling out. So rolling out means it may or may not be in your tenant yet. Essentially, these are items that are being pushed through the whole platform. Now, it might take a week or 2 weeks or a month or 3 months or whatever it might be to actually reach your tenant, but this is the stuff that's coming very, very soon and things that you should be starting to make your users aware of that they'll start to see in the coming weeks and months. So what we've got here, so we've got 11 new items entering the rolling out phase. So Microsoft Teams for first-line workers, off-shift access. So off-shift access is a new setting that can be enabled by IT administrators to provide a notification to first-line workers when they access the Teams app on their personal device outside payable hours. The users then need to provide consent to the notification before being able to access their app. Microsoft Teams for first-line workers, off-shift access V0. Okay, so that's gone from V0 to V1, so that's essentially the same thing. Microsoft Authenticator app full screen account pages. So the Microsoft Authenticator app is adding new features. The full screen account details page. When you click anywhere on your account tile, your account will expand into a full screen view, and on the full screen view you'll be able to see your one-time password code. Tap on the numbers to copy it, and additionally you'll be able to enable passwordless phone sign-in if your organisation has requested you to turn on that feature. Other regular actions such as approving a notification, adding a new account or interacting with settings will remain unchanged. Updates to app mentioned email notifications, so OneDrive for Business. Whenever someone app mentions you in an Office file, you receive an email notifying you about the same, and with this update you will be able to read through the comments you have been app mentioned in directly in the email notification. That will be useful. Custom mailbox submissions, actually just going back to this last one, Microsoft please do the same for Teams notifications. The amount of emails I get saying someone has mentioned me in a team but I can't actually read the message and I have to try and click it through to Teams but it doesn't open up the conversation that it's referring me to. Very frustrated. Please make this work in Teams as well. Custom mailbox submissions and improvements for the admin submissions. Microsoft are adding some enhancements to the Microsoft Information Protection. Microsoft are adding some enhancements to the admin submissions functionality of Office 365. You will now be able to submit .msg files, email message files, plus view more details about submitted content and policies or settings that may have allowed the message to bypass their filters. I've seen this a few times, or similar. Okay, safe links for Office Online. So this is again related to Microsoft Information Protection. Safe links in Office 365 Advanced Threat Protection has been protecting your links in Office clients on Windows, Mac, iOS and Android. And now Microsoft are extending this protection to Office Online. So when a user clicks a link in Word, Excel, PowerPoint or OneNote, Advanced Threat Protection will inspect the link to see if it is malicious. Roadmap for new project for education coming soon. People are loving the new project, so I'm sure this will be great coming into education tenants as well. Manage organisation access to project for the web. So turn on or off project for the web for your organisation through a new lever found in the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. Interesting, I need to see what a lever control is in the 365 Admin Center. Okay, device management support for collaboration bars. So what's this relating to for Microsoft Teams? So Microsoft are adding support for managing collaboration bars in Teams Admin Center. Admin users will have the capability to manage collaboration bar devices from the Teams Admin Center, and also to accommodate newer device types, they will have realigned the interface under the Devices tab, and the arrangement is done to ensure the revised UI is simpler to navigate and extensible. Multilingual page publishing for modern SharePoint. So customers can now create, publish and consume modern SharePoint pages and news in multiple languages. I'm sure that would be very welcome. Query alterations using SharePoint Framework for custom results page. So query alterations using SPFX for custom results page allows for query alterations in the Microsoft search for custom results page. If they just repeated the same words over and over there, I think they have. Okay, have a look at the link, that would be useful. Okay, so that's everything that we should now be seeing over the next few weeks, and we also have 30 items that have entered the in development phase, so it'll be interesting to see what we've got here. Like I say, we may not see these at all, we may not see these for a month or 6 months or 12 months, but this is the stuff that Microsoft's working on. So if you want to give your users a little bit more of a what's coming soon, then this is the section to look at. Okay. I would be interested to see how this changes over the next few weeks, like I said, with the current worldwide pandemic. Okay, so what has Microsoft started working on? Pin Microsoft Teams apps in more places. So administrators can now pin apps more broadly across Microsoft Teams, including the expanded apps area of the Microsoft Teams app bar, and this makes featuring the right apps for your organisation more discoverable by users. Azure AD, new default background image for Microsoft 365 and Azure AD login. So Microsoft are updating the default background image for the 365 and Azure AD login screens, and the new image is 1% the size of the previous default image, which will reduce bandwidth requirements and improve perceived page load times. I think we've seen this before. Profile card customization through Microsoft Graph Beta. So profile card customization through Microsoft Graph Beta allows you to add custom information to a person's profile card through the Microsoft Graph Beta. This allows an administrator to customize people's profile cards by adding properties according to your business needs. That'd be useful. More configuration, less dev, that's always good. Microsoft Stream Search vertical in Microsoft Search. So the new Microsoft Stream Search vertical in Microsoft Search allows for discovering media content stored in Microsoft Stream. If you're not familiar with what search verticals are, they're basically just pointers to result sources. So it might be archived documents, current documents, PowerPoints. It's just a certain categorization, which is called a search vertical. Shareable address bar links. So tenant admins can specify whether the link that shows up in address bar for files is shareable within the organization or not. Some more OneDrive for Business, version history in desktop. So you will now be able to view and restore previous versions of your files directly in your desktop via the file browser or Mac Finder. That would be really handy. That would be very useful. Microsoft Teams for first-line workers on OffShift v2. So we've just seen reference previously to v0, v1. So there's obviously a v2 being worked on at the same time. So we can expect this as a bit of functionality that Microsoft is rapidly progressing through. Outlook for iOS availability in Office 365 operated by 21 Vianet. So Outlook for iOS will be available to customers in China through the services and support of Office 365 operated by 21 Vianet. Microsoft Teams, there's a new location for the new chat button, recent and contacts tab in the chat app. So they're changing the location of the new chat button and moving the contacts and recent view options to a drop down in the chat list header as opposed to standalone tabs. Tasks in Word, so create and assign tasks to collaborators in Word documents to track ownership and get work done. I imagine this would be very useful. Please, Microsoft, don't create a new tasks mechanism. Please tie this into To-Do or Planner or some other technology you have for managing tasks. We really do not need another task management application. Tasks in Excel, so create and assign tasks to collaborators in Excel workbooks, so the same as Word. Outlook for iOS, suggested keyword spelling corrections. So Outlook will suggest an alternative word for a keyword if there is a possible mistake in the keyword search query and reduces the opportunity to return no results. Same for Outlook for Android, suggested keyword spelling corrections. Microsoft Teams for first line workers, OffShift access v1. Okay, we're kind of duplicating here, So what we can see here, this v0 and this v1, it's obviously gone from in development to rolling out literally within the last 2 weeks. That could just be about when they added it to the roadmap as opposed to when they actually started development. OneDrive for Business and Exchange usage reporting for GCC high tenants. Microsoft Teams usage reporting for GCC high tenants. Risky IP for Active Directory Federation services. Extranet lockout protection is coming for public preview. So Risky IP is a feature in Azure Active Directory connects Health for ADFS. Depends on the threshold set up from the portal. So essentially, Microsoft will track the IP addresses that people are connecting from and detect whether they are potentially suspicious IPs. Outlook for iOS. Work and personal contact separation. So when creating a new email, a new calendar event in either your work, school account or personal account, contact suggestions will be separated through a new user experience to ensure the correct contact is based on user intent. That'd be useful because I mix personal and work contacts on the same phone, so that'd be really useful to have a bit of a separation there. Office 365 A2P, secure by default, do not allow for domains that fail authentication. Cumulative analytics for hubs in SharePoint. So hub owners can now analyze aggregate usage analytics for their SharePoint hub sites, including all associated sites. Going to the site usage page for a hub site will automatically display usage data, including total visits, unique users, top sites, popular content for all associated sites in the hub. That will be very welcome by a lot of people, I can imagine. Okay, 22 out of 30, we're nearly there. 5 minutes and then we should be done. In this update, we are enabling you and your users to create and manage custom flows with Power Automate and custom forms apps with Power Apps and SharePoint lists and libraries in the GCC High environment. Office 365 ATP request release workflow. So Microsoft have added a way for end users to triage quarantine phishing messages, and they understand that managing false positives is important to ensuring email is delivered appropriately, and in the past end users weren't granted access to the quarantine to view messages, so they've introduced an option to grant end users read-only access to the quarantine to view quarantine messages and request that an admin release messages to the inbox. Very useful, is what a lot of spam filters have done in the past, so that's useful. Quarantine custom policy and folder. So previously, quarantine behaviour was configured through each individual filtering policy, and to reduce complexity, Microsoft have moved new and existing quarantine, will be moving new and existing quarantine parameters to a standalone quarantine policy. SharePoint and OneDrive navigation update for narrow screens. So in SharePoint and OneDrive, Microsoft are making a change for narrow screens to the location of the navigation hamburger menu. You will now find the hamburger menu in the header area for your site and command bar for files instead of the sweep bar. Outlook for iOS actionable contact search answers. So Outlook will show actionable results for specific contact information such as Megan's phone, so no need to open the contact card to get the information you're looking for. 3 to go. Outlook for Android, actionable contact search answers, same as what we just discussed. Windows Virtual Desktop support for Microsoft Teams. So Windows Virtual Desktop supports AV redirection for Microsoft Teams, including P2P technology to improve performance. Windows Virtual Desktop deployment through Azure Portal. And lastly, admin feedback in Microsoft Search. So new improvements to Microsoft Search Administration and Microsoft 365 will provide the ability for employees to submit feedback to their administrators for the search experience in Office 365 with Microsoft Search. So there we have it, in just under half an hour. That's all of the updates to Office 365 and Microsoft 365 at the moment. Quite a few interesting items there. If any of those do take your fancy or you find interesting, please tweet me at Mark Stokes, leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your feedback on some of the functionality that goes through. I literally just deliver a quick update to what they are, but I'd be very interested to hear how people use them in the real world. So I'm going to go back into self-isolation, protect myself and everyone else around me. So far we've managed to avoid coronavirus. We're taking every step we can to keep ourselves separated from each other and businesses going on. So I hope everyone is staying safe. I hope no one's adversely affected by this. I've no doubt there's going to be a lot of casualties over the next coming months. So please, if there's anything that we can do to help and assist you, do reach out to me. But I wish everyone the best of luck, and I'll be back here or maybe at home in 2 weeks' time, and we'll deliver another update. And it'll be interesting to see whether Microsoft's scaling down or whether we see the same level of updates. But until then, please take care, be safe, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you.